Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat, but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome. Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
It's the coup d'etat of wrestling. William Patrick Corgan, the National Wrestling Alliance, the territory system. That was avant-garde. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it. This is the pre-party, not some sunglass-wearing bullshit hype show for bullshit reasons. This is a podcast, a live stream for NWA fans. For fans of the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm not trying to get a job with William Patrick Corgan. I'm not here to cut promos. I'm here to talk about wrestling with my friends, my family, the NWA universe. Nah. Hashtag that NWA fam. Family comes first, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, aunties, uncles, mamas, and papas. This is the Alliance Guys broadcasting network, if you will, but this is the pre-party. I'm Jake Allen. Each and every Tuesday, I come to you to talk about the NWA. And I see some of my pals are in the chat already, so I want to run down and say what's up to my friends, my pals, my confidants. We got Sam Retros in the house. Willie Bowen is here. Wait on my joke, Willie. Steve G's in the house. Noob is here. Chris Drummond. The villain cometh. And this young gentleman by the name of MVEC Whitman, better known as Media Mike, a.k.a. the reason why this show gets demonetized about 3 times a month. And I'm here to talk about the NWA, guys, because pure and simple, I've been a fan of this particular brand of wrestling since I was a little boy. I have been watching the NWA since I was a child. I've been watching the NWA since I was a little wee high to a grasshopper, right? You guys have heard my story before, but if you're new to the show, let's share it, right? It was the mid-'80s, like 85, 86. Cable cometh to the Kylie household. Your boy Jay got cable. And so instead of on Saturdays and Sundays watching WWF programming and syndication, I just went to TBS because I could watch the Brady Bunch or Scooby-Doo or what is this? Wrestling at 5 o'clock in the morning? Wow. Wait, there's wrestling at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturdays? Yeah, I'm in. Who is this guy, Arn Anderson? He looks like my dad. Arn Anderson was 45 when the NWO did the whole retirement angle. And I just think, man, I thought he was 45 back in the 80s. But I love the pageantry. I love the pro wrestling. As a kid at that age, 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, and seeing a tag team like the Road Warriors, are you telling me you didn't get jacked up? Seeing a wrestler like Rick Steiner just barking around the ring, Sting, Lex Luger, the 4 freaking horsemen. You can't forget about Dusty Rhodes, Daddy. Nikita Koloff. Oh, man, those are the good old days. And the thing about pro wrestling is this, even though that the names have changed, the faces have changed, even hell, the people who own the companies have changed, the NWA is still here. And that to me is quite interesting. That to me makes it more unique than any other wrestling promotion on the planet. Because it wasn't Jim Crockett Promotions that kept the NWA name alive. It wasn't Don Owens. It wasn't New Japan Pro Wrestling. It wasn't All Japan Pro Wrestling. It wasn't David Marquez. It wasn't Bruce Tharpe. It wasn't Jeff Jarrett. It was us. It was the wrestling fans. It was us watching the pay-per-views. It was us going to the live events. It was us talking about the shows that were happening in our own podunk towns. It was the backbone of Americana, where you could go to your local high school gymnasium and watch pro wrestling. You could go to the VFW and watch pro wrestling. So yes, we had the stars. We had the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We had Sting, Dusty Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, Jeff Jarrett, AJ Styles, Sabu, Chris Candido, Dan the Beast Severin. Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, Colt Boom Boom Cabana, Rob Conway, Tokyo Monster Kahagas, Jax Dane, Tim Storm, all long before we had William Patrick Corgan and his version of the NWA. But Daddy, things are changing and it feels like it's like old times again. And it feels like old times because the territories, they be coming back. The territories are here. In some ways, the territories never left, but it's back. We're back in the saddle again, guys. And it should be noted that Back to the Territories, which will be coming to Knoxville, Tennessee, Saturday, June 1st, featuring multiple associates or territories of the NWA. Of course, we know that Exodus Pro is the first territory as designated by William Patrick Corgan through this Lightning One era, followed up by Joe Cazana Promotions, most of Eastern Tennessee. Next up was supposed to be Fight the World Wrestling, but no, Daddy. They didn't get the invitation. But NWA Chicago did. And it wasn't long before NWA Chicago that just past Friday, Krossfire Wrestling welcomed into the alliance, part of the family now. And so as it appears to me, this NWA with affiliates in Fight the World Wrestling and World League Wrestling, it seems like the territories are back. And for some of you, you might think, oh, this is great. Some of you think this is awful. But I'm telling you, this more than anything else is probably the bravest, boldest, best thing that William Patrick Corgan, Billy, has done for the NWA, because it has now become like it was. I've said it before, Joe Cazana Promotions is the living embodiment of what the National Wrestling Alliance is to me. I love having Joe Cazana on this podcast, on this live stream, on our channel, because he tells it like it is, but he is very much in that same mindset of the NWA promoters from yesteryear, who carried that NWA name when all the legends were gone, when all the big timers were gone. It was guys like Joe Cazana who kept that boat running. Guys like Dave Marquez, guys like Tony Givens, guys like Fred Rubenstein. As much as you may or may not like the name, he helped keep the NWA alive. Howard Brody kept the NWA alive. And so now that we have this territory system, I think it's a new dawn for the NWA. And we've mentioned the CW app. We've talked about that ad nauseum, okay? It's exclusive to the North American audience, or excuse me, not even North American audience. It's exclusive to the United States now. But we're feeling that the growth of the NWA, to me, I think it's at an all-time high. We're seeing things move forward in ways that we haven't seen before. There are more events now with the NWA name than there have been in a decade. And I think that this is very positive for the National Wrestling Alliance. And we've talked about some of the upcoming events. Of course, Crockett Cup is happening on May the 11th. We're less than a month away. And in between then, you have Joe Cazana Promotions, you have NWA Chicago, you have Krossfire, you have Exodus Pro. All of that leads us to the next television taping events that are happening first week of June with the return to the territories. Filming it in a high school gym. So, chef kiss. So, oh, come on, Sam. Oh, come on, Sam. You're gonna throw out Dennis Corluzzo? Of course. Look, Dennis Corluzzo was one of the best things that happened to the NWA. Dennis Corluzzo was also one of the worst things that happened to the NWA. And it's somewhere in that reality, there is truth that Corluzzo did more to help keep the NWA afloat than others. But man, he sure did put his foot in his mouth a lot. He sure did do things to kind of set the NWA backwards. It was almost like one step forward, two steps back with Corluzzo. But no, you don't have today's NWA without Dennis Corluzzo, 100%. You don't have today's NWA without Howard Brody. You don't have today's NWA without Fred Rubenstein or Dave Republic or David Marquez or Ken Taylor or, I'll even say it, you don't have it without Chris Ronquillo. You don't have it without Bruce Tharp. You don't have it without Mike Porter. You don't have it with Bill freaking Behrens. Like, all of these guys helped pave the way to what Billy has today. And you can't argue with me on that because you're just flat wrong. Right? Let's get to the chat, guys. I can't just cherry pick chat comments. Let's see. The Tyrus joke of the day. J Cow, Tyrus is in therapy. He can't look at a food menu from any restaurants. I missed that one, Willie. You're gonna have to tell me that a different way because I didn't get it. Sorry. Media Mike says, same with me. Once we got the NWA, AWA, WCCW, UWF syndication, New York City, hardly watched the WWE. See, the thing about me was this. Anytime I could have watched wrestling growing up, I did. So, like, on Saturdays, we had syndication. So we had WWF Superstars. And then immediately after Superstars on another channel was Glow, right? On another syndicated channel. So I'd watch the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And then on Sundays, we'd have, I don't remember exactly what the show was called. I think it was, I don't remember. But it was the Sunday version of Superstars. And then once we got cable, then I was able to watch Primetime Wrestling on Mondays. Primetime Wrestling kind of paved the way for Monday Night Raw. And then once cable came in, then we started discovering everything. You get AWA on ESPN, and later that would become Global Wrestling Federation. I mean, not the same promotion, but that would air on ESPN. Also, we would. I don't think I ever got World Class. I don't remember watching World Class, but I would watch Lucha Libre on Telemundo, Channel 34 here locally in the Southern California market. I would watch AAA. And as a teenager, I would watch CMLL. And yeah, anytime I had a chance to watch wrestling, I would. I think in 95 or 96 is when I discovered ECW on our basically what is now the Sinclair broadcast, Sinclair Sports, or whatever that package is called. We used to watch that. In my area, it was called Fox Sports, or it was Fox Sports West. But yeah, I mean, I'd watch whatever I could. I ate it up. Locally, even in a local market, we had a promotion called California Championship Wrestling. Not very good. Did not watch that. Chris Drummond says Kojima. I mean, I love Kojima, but context, brother. What about Kojima? Sam Retro says FTW and WLW announcements are coming, I believe. Then he's also chanting for JCP. Chris says, I don't think it's awful. I just feel it lacks leadership. Why? Why do you think it lacks leadership? What do you want to happen? I know that you talked to Gary on our message boards quite a bit and asking for certain things to happen, but what is lacking? I mean, I see that they are promoting these events. They're sharing talents. You're seeing guys come up from the territories into Power onto the premium live events or signature live events. We're seeing it. Fight the World Wrestling hasn't ran any shows since January, which is random. I mean, again, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Willie Bowen says NWA, Joe Cazana Promotions, Exodus, and Krossfire are good moves. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out having two territories in Tennessee. But if Krossfire kind of sticks to Slayerville, I think I'm saying that correctly, and if Joe Cazana Promotions just stay out of there and they don't run on competing nights, I think going forward, that's a good move. I mean, look, you go to Krossfire and Slayerville. I don't know how to pronounce it. Don't come after me in the comments. But I if they run one night in one town and then Joe Cazana runs not too far away in a different town, they do a Friday, Saturday, they could share some talent. You could bring in some bigger names and that they could go back to back in two different promotions, not in the same area, maybe an hour away, maybe 2 hours away. You definitely, that puts the NWA name out there. And then could you imagine Silas Mason, who I believe is still currently your Joe Cazana Promotions NWA Southern Eastern champion, if he goes and defends in Krossfire one night and defends in Joe Cazana Promotions the next night, I mean, doesn't that have like an air of superiority? Doesn't that make that title feel a little bit better, bigger? And what if he's bringing in bigger names now that you have these two promotions working together? Because, now you're not paying as much for travel. What if you brought in a bigger name to face, Thrillbilly Silas Mason on back-to-back nights? Just saying. Let's see. Now that my Howard and Tony were vital to the NWA during THRP, but they 100% were. Look, let's also keep in mind, Tony Givens doesn't get the roses he deserves. Like Chris Ronquillo, sure, he can. Chris Ronquillo can kick rocks, but he did do a lot for the NWA. It was maybe selfish in nature. Maybe he was just looking to benefit his own promotion, but what he did helped grow the brand. You can't even argue that. Yeah, Chris, I don't know if you missed the part where I said that, or maybe you wrote that before I said it, but yeah, I do believe that Bill Behrens did a lot to keep the NWA going. Bill Behrens, I mean, and that's another unsung hero of the NWA, taking Music City Wrestling and basically evolving that basically into NWA Wildside, right? Getting TV in all those markets, getting exposure for young AJ Styles, young Ron Killings, everyone that came out of that territory, Wildside and Anarchy. Yeah, I mean, that was a great market for the NWA for a long time. Let's see. Willie, it should be the link in the bio. If not, I will post it here in just a moment or two. Let's see. In fact, I'll do it now. Why not, right? Why not just interrupt the whole show just to... I'm just messing, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just a kidder. There we go. That should do it. This should get Willie in the Discord. That should be the invitation link. Let me know if that doesn't work. Dennis Corluzzo was good for the NWA as far as trying to get tag team wrestling alive so more people can get work in the Northeast, except for his son. Mike, you'll have to explain that to me. I'm not sure. Rosville's here in the house. What's up, Rosville? Kamille and AEW. Yeah, I'm going to get to that too momentarily. The worst thing is Tyrus and the Spectaculars. Well, I don't think you have to worry about Tyrus anymore. I'm not sure what the standard, what's going on with the Spectaculars. That's still up in the air. Remember Markova? Yeah, who could forget Markova? Great talent. Came this short to winning the title last week. I left with Cody in 2016. That's when I became an indie fan. 2016 was an interesting year for me. I was this close to being done with the NWA. This is a shoot, brother. 2016, I was dissatisfied with the direction of the National Wrestling Alliance. I had actually given the reins of the website and the podcast over to good friend DKM. I was no longer interested in promoting or sharing a promotion that I felt like was don't know how to put that gingerly. I'll just say I disagreed with what they were doing. Fast forward, the rumors in, I want to say, late summer, almost, I guess around fall, is that there was going to be a sell. And nobody really knew what was going on. And then it started coming out more and more in 2017. And of course, by mid-January of 2017, we kind of knew that the NWA was going to be sold. We just didn't know to who. There were a lot of bidders on it. Of course, William Patrick Corgan with Dave Lagana and Dave Marquez. Obviously, Billy was paying for the NWA, but he was going to have support with the two Daves. That's what I got interested in, and that's what brought me back to the NWA and kicked off this live stream. This live stream didn't kick off until Power, but reinvigorated me as a fan and got me back into the NWA. But you could ask DKM. I was very close to just ending the whole thing. Because Tyrus put restaurants out of business. He needs there. Okay, Willie, I got you. Let's see. Luckily, we didn't need cable TV for wrestling. It all comes on the UHF stations. You needed aluminum foil to watch and antenna. Those are the old days. That's what Sinclair was on the East to Fox Sports. Yes. I heard Tyrus was training to be a Funkadelics again. Oh, God, I hope not. Oosh. Watching last week's show, and there are too many spots in the opening match where people are standing waiting to be dove on. I think specifically you might be talking about the security, and that was a weird spot. That was like they should have rehearsed that a little bit more. I don't know. I felt that was a very ill-timed spot. It didn't make a lot of sense. And I get that he kind of just dove thinking he was diving onto his opponent. In reality, he was diving onto security. Just still didn't make a lot of sense. Direction is key, Rosville. I do believe you with that one. Sam says, I love Chris. He's our super villain. Talent with no direction leads to let's throw matches together. Yeah, that's fair, Roz. But you know what? Even a monkey, typing a manuscript, what is it, 1,000 monkeys typing a manuscript can come up with Shakespeare. I don't know. I'm probably butchering the analogy. I feel like the NWA gets some things right. I mean, look, I enjoyed the Markova versus Kenzie Page match last week. I didn't feel like that was a bad match at all. Tyrus is better off playing Grimace or that purple dinosaur party. They're promoting the events in a very good thing, but maybe we can get like a news flash promoting what's going on in the territories. Sure, Chris, absolutely. I don't disagree with that, but you also have to understand that there is limited. It's not like the NWA is AEW. It's not like it's the WWE. Hell, it's not even MLW. There is a very tight-knit group who are promoting this company. You have a few social media managers. You have the, obviously Billy owns it. We know who the faces are: Kyle Davis, Joe Galley, Patrick Kenny. They're basically running the show. They're doing everything that Billy isn't doing. So there isn't like I don't see like there's this big window of like, hey, well, we could do this. Well, sure, give them $1 million. I'm sure they could do it. They're limited on resources, limited on funds, limited on talent, limited on opportunity. Gary Horn isn't a full-time NWA employee. He has a job. He has a wife. How many hours a day could he dedicate to promoting the NWA? The social media managers who are working the NWA, they're constantly posting stuff. What more can they do? I am a little bit more patient with that sort of thing, Chris, and maybe you feel like they should be there already. And who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just feel like we also know that this is a very limited produced company. They don't have the resources of Tony Khan or Court Bauer or TKO or Anthem. They don't have those resources. I'm not saying that Billy isn't a wealthy man, but we also know that he's not going to put every dime he owns into the NWA. That just doesn't make sense. Let's see. Double team in the East Tennessee, not a bad idea. Yeah, I would never run the same town back to back. I wouldn't run on the same nights. I feel like as long as they have an understanding and work together on scheduling, because nothing will burn out a market more than doing, hey, we're going to do Joe Cazana Promotions on night 1, and then we're going to do Krossfire on night 2, and we're doing that in this territory. Man, fans are going to get tired of it. I'm not tired of it in a sense that they don't enjoy the wrestling, but tired of it as how much money can they shell out for tickets? How often can they afford to go to the show? The territory system is new, and we want fans to know about them, not just our core fan base. Hey, yes. And Sam actually has a pretty good answer for you. You got to start local, bro. The locals love those territories. Man, I'm so behind on your guys' comments. Let me try to get caught up before we get into more. The NWA women are doing pretty good, solid for the most part. Well, let's talk about a former NWA woman, right? Because there's obviously something to be said about being elite. Now, this isn't an official release from AEW, as you can see. It's from Wrestling Covers, but the rumors are running rampant from Fightfull that Kamille has signed with AEW. Now, if you have your ear low enough to the ground, you might have heard about this a couple weeks ago, but what can we say more about Kamille than hasn't already been said? She carried the NWA brand, not the women's division. Yeah, of course she did. She carried the NWA brand through that entire bullshit Tyrus era. Tell me when I'm lying. Kamille versus Taya Valkyrie. Kamille versus Chelsea Green. Kamille versus Natalia Markova. Kamille versus Kylie King. Tell me when I'm lying. Tell me when those matches weren't bangers. Tell me when those matches didn't carry the pay-per-views that Tyrus was supposed to be main eventing. Tell me when I'm lying. Kamille was and is probably the best thing about the NWA in the last 5 years. Bigger than Nick Aldis. More important to the NWA's growth than Nick Aldis. More important than Thunder Rosa. And I love Thunder Rosa. But what Kamille did for the NWA, she basically carried the company on her back for an entire calendar year. Tell me when I'm wrong. Oh, Debbie. Sam, I looked it up, and I don't think it's 100 miles apart, but I could be wrong. I looked it up, and I thought it was like a 45-minute drive. And, again, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I wouldn't want to be close. I wouldn't want to be that close. Let me get into more comments. Not have cared for Dennis's son at the time. He used to come into the Sharps and train. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know much about Dennis Corluzzo's son. What I basically know about Dennis Corluzzo, I kind of learned secondhand from either talking to Fred Rubenstein or talking to Jaden, who directly had involvement with working with Dennis Corluzzo. I don't know if he worked directly for him or just knew enough people who did, but I don't have that kind of firsthand info. Let's see, more comments. NWA, also known as We're Number 6. I mean, Chris, I know you say that and you're putting a little bit of sting onto that, but like, let's be honest, WWE has more money, more resources, more talent, sells out much larger venues. They can't be touched, right? AEW is not even in the same market as the WWE. It's the WWE and then everyone else. AEW could be argued that they're number 2. You might, I mean, there's cases to be made that AEW is number 2, that New Japan Pro Wrestling's number 2, that TNA Wrestling could be considered number 2. Then, there's 3 and then 4. Then you've got like promotions like MLW. You've got promotions like Dave Marquez's Championship Wrestling. You've got promotions like Reality of Wrestling, Prestige. There's a lot of other promotions out there, obviously. And if you're telling me that the NWA with its limited resources is number 6, is that an insult or is that just a fact? Is there anything negative about being number 6? Have we realized NWA's fullest potential yet, or are we still in its infancy? MLW had a good 6 or 7 year run before going on hiatus and coming back. Dragon Gate was around for 4 years and then gone? And some of the other promotions that were associated with Dragon Gate, what was it? I can't remember the other promotion. Anyways, they're all gone. NWA's still here. After thinking about last week's episode of Power and the NWA women's title, like I said a few weeks ago, what's the end game for the feud between Markova and Kenzie Page? I don't know that there is an end game between the two. I don't know that they have a script written out that's going to showcase a long storied rivalry between the two. I think it's on to the next. I think the better question when it comes to the women's division is, what are you going to do with that TV title? That TV title that was supposed to be the highlight of was supposed to be showcased on Power Weekly. Now we don't see either title defended. We haven't seen the titles defended since Paranoia, right? Or the TV tapings after Paranoia. So now Hard Times are just about done. We didn't see the TV championship being defended. It's great that Max comes out there with both titles, and it looks kind of cool. But when was the last time Max defended a title? Either of them. When was the last time Max defended the women's TV title? And, I know there's special accommodations being made, but, in the old days, you had 30 days to defend the title. If you didn't defend it, stripped. I feel like, honestly, that TV title should be cashed in. Max should challenge for the Burke and then move forward from there. Sitting on the title is not doing anyone a bit of good, and not defending the title isn't doing anyone a bit of good. Putting her in the ring with Markova, putting her in the ring with Ella Envy, with Kylie, putting her in the ring with Missa Kate or Taylor Rising. I mean, I don't know what that does for anybody. I just saying. I feel like they're at a point now where that title is really being pigeonholed by being kept on Max. It's great. Okay, we know Max is the superstar. Max transcends wrestling genders and wrestling societal norms. Great. Max is paving the way for a new way to look at pro wrestling. Cool. All of that's interesting. All of that's exciting. The TV title is stagnant. It's hurting the women's division. At this point, just start pairing up all the free women and putting them into tag teams. If you're not going to put Missa Kate into a serious feud, if you're not going to put Markova into a serious feud, for the world title, start putting them into tag teams and let them feud for the tag titles, because at this point, the TV title, not only is its value being diminished every week when it's not being defended, but it's becoming obsolete. There's no need for it. Roswell says, I believe Kamille had more control of her booking, and it shows. That's possible. At the end of the day, it's still Billy's. Billy is the one who is in charge, right? And if Billy said, nah, you're going to lose the title, I don't think Kamille could say, no, I'm not going to. She might have had a vote on who she defended the title against. She might have had a say, hey, bring in, I want to wrestle this person, or hey, I'd like to have this person put in a position to be built up for me to wrestle against. Yeah, okay. But I don't think that Kamille, had the book, if that makes sense. She wasn't Kevin Nashing it. Jay, if it's true, I sure hope TK doesn't have Kamille lose to Storm. I mean, I don't know. Toni Storm's great. I have no complaints about her at all. I think what she's doing is still, it's not as fresh as it was, when it first started, but it's still over. And look, she's a great competitor. I got nothing against Toni Storm. I think if you're going to bring in Kamille into AEW, let her, don't push her to Toni Storm. Maybe bring her into Ring of Honor first. Maybe have her be the one to take the belt off Athena. That is a fact, J. Cal. Kamille did carry the NWA on her back. I think TK owns New Japan now. Check out the shows. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Okay, Chris, fair enough. Evolve, that's who I was thinking of. Thank you. Is owned by the Fed. Well, I mean, sure. Is it owned by the Fed or okay? Look, if that's the case, hear me out. I know this isn't a WWE program. If I was the WWE right now, I would absolutely 100% change NXT into a new brand for the WWE. And maybe calling it Evolve would be a smart idea. I think the NXT concept still contains value, still has merit, but maybe have a reduced role on TV. Maybe NXT should be a Peacock/WWE.com exclusive. That NXT should only be for talent who have yet to debut. NXT could be like matches without an audience, matches to gauge the talent of the individuals. Where if NXT continues the way it is, it still feels like a feeder fed to SmackDown and Raw. So it doesn't ever feel like it's its own distinct personality. Sorry, this is not a WWE show, but I feel like it will always be smaller than and diminished by the fact that it's a feeder fed for the main shows, where I think at this point the talent behind it could be something bigger. And maybe you go by that name, Evolve, and put them on CW. WWE's Evolve. I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird if Shawn Michaels is running Evolved, but that's something else. Let's see. Did WPC have Max carry both TV titles as a FU to FE? That's quite possible, Scoob. That is very, very possible. That I don't know. Sam says, I've been saying that since day one. J-Cal, not sure what NXT can do. Remember their CW now. Yeah, that's true. Yes, 100%. And I don't have a problem with that. But I think if you change the name and kind of still, hey, this is NXT is involved and this is our new show, Evolve. And it's like you could still use, and forgive me for not knowing her name right off the top of my head, The Rock's daughter as the GM. And when you're doing a draft, now they have a voice in the draft, and they can be like, hey, we want to draft. We're going to make this trade. We're going to take, these talents and trade them to Raw for this talent. And I really feel like there's some fun stuff you could do with that. And it would almost be like its own separate league. Yeah, and Sam, you could be right. They could be catering to the LGBT community with Max as champion. My question to that is, though, to what extent? I mean, at some point, Max has to defend the titles. We haven't seen Max defend a title in a very long time, and I feel like that hurts the titles. And it doesn't matter who you're trying. Look, you could still have Max be a dominant force on television, but Max carrying a title that they are not defending does not make sense. Dave Scooby is in the house, like I said. Hopefully we're going to find out what's going on with the other Alliance guys soon. I know Jeremy's been working some extra hours. We might have to reconsider how that show is going to go going forward. The other Alliance guys. Dave Scooby always has a home here on this network. Same thing with Jeremy. That's not an insult to Jeremy either. I just don't know if things are going well enough time-wise for those guys. I really would like to see that show come back. Thoughts on Kamille going all elite? Well, I was just talking about it, Paladin. You're going to have to watch the show. You're going to have to watch the whole show. Did Max have the title at the GCW show during WrestleMania weekend? That I don't know. Max the Impaler has the tyrus disease, not defending her title. Their title. I'm going to say their title. Paladin, that's what I spent the last 10 minutes talking about how amazing Kamille is. And I feel like, okay, I'll just nip it, give you a little short bit of Kamille. I think it's great. Kamille definitely deserves an opportunity to be showcased on a bigger platform. Kamille was linked to NXT for a long time. Kamille was linked to AEW. I'm excited to see Kamille take that next step. We have been waiting patiently. What's next for Kamille? She did things the right way. She ended her relationship on a positive note with the NWA. She might have not been entirely thrilled with the NWA, but she never came out here and destroyed Billy like other people did on her way out when she totally could have. She was very respectful. She held her title with grace and dignity. She took on some of the best free agent women in wrestling. She toured with the title. There's nothing negative I could say about Kamille as NWA Women's Champion. She had banger after banger after banger. She carried the NWA on her back as Women's World Champion. She made the Burke even more relevant than Thunder Rosa did, which is a huge testament to how much Kamille worked her ass off for the NWA. So Kamille going to AEW, I'm so proud of her. I'm so happy for her. I hope she gets paid great money. And my hope is that they send her to Ring of Honor and she could be the one to dethrone Athena for the ROH Women's World Championship. Is that what they're going to do? Shit, I don't know. I'm not an AEW typical fan. I don't know exactly how they book their wrestling. Like Swerve, I like Swerve. I'm glad he's the world champion. I love Samoa Joe. I thought he was a great champion. I like MJF. I thought Christian Cage was a great TBS champion. Or is it TNT champion? Excuse me. I don't know what they're even doing with the TBS champion at this point. So all of it's good. I'm excited for Kamille and wish her nothing but the best. If the rumors are true, if she did sign with AEW, good for her, good for them. What do you think of Serena Deeb returning to the NWA? I don't think that's going to happen. As far as I know, she's still under contract with AEW, and as Paladin says, she's getting pushed right now. So yeah, I'm not holding my breath for that. It just doesn't make sense to me. That's the interesting thing. If they're complaining about Kamille's wrestling, I think that means that they just aren't familiar with her. And it's not to put down Jade Cargill, because I thought she was great. Jade Cargill was the TBS champion. Yeah. I'm correct in that. I was there when she lost the belt, and they say that she has limited abilities in the ring. I got to watch Kamille wrestle for well over 3 or 4 years, and I felt like each and every time she stepped in the ring, she was better than she was the last time. She had great matches with Ty Valkyrie. She had great matches with Kenzie Page. She had great matches with Kylie and King, all of whom I understand aren't like the top prospects in AEW. But like, are you telling me that Kamille couldn't have a good match with Chris Statlander or Willow Nightingale or Athena or Julie Hart or Sky Blue? Come on. Of course she's going to have good matches with them. Let's see. Kamille starting as Aldous' insurance policy to now has a great career so far. Yeah, and I think, you know, look, when Kamille debuted, I had no idea who she was. None. Zero. And you find out later, oh, she was trained at the Team 3D Academy. Well, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. She's got a good head on her shoulders. I thought she was green when she debuted for the NWA. And there are times throughout her run as world champion where I thought, wow, that didn't look great. But as she progressed as women's world champion, she showcased herself. And again, you know, she went to Mexico. Did you guys forget she defended the women's world championship in AAA? She challenged for the Reina de Reinas championship in AAA. She was part of the World Cup of Lucha Libre representing Team America with Jordan Grace and Donna Purrazzo. I mean, she was the only one not signed to a big company. She wasn't working for TNA, but those two did. Kamille's going to be fine. Jade Cargill sucks. All right, Paladin, I disagree so much on that. Jade Cargill is great, and I think she has a ton of upside. I don't think she's better than Kamille. Kamille would need a girl that can carry her the way Thunder Rosa carries Britt Baker. Whoa. I don't know if that was a thinly veiled shot at Thunder Rosa, but all right. Glad I got to see Kamille perform live as champ. Me too. I got to see her multiple times, and I was happy each time I got to see her. Kamille also wrestled other lady wrestlers in the indies too. She was taking that belt everywhere. After Thunder Rosa rolled Kamille around for the job, Kamille got better every match after. That is fact. And you could see it match by match. And that was a cool thing because Kamille was still working the indies. And most NWA fans, we didn't get to see that. We didn't watch Coastal Championship Wrestling. We didn't even know who they were. She wrestled River City Wrestling. We didn't know who River City Wrestling is. That's not our bag. You don't live in San Antonio. You're not watching River City Wrestling. Kamille is there. Kamille is just getting better each and every time she went out. And so she shows up on Power. She shows up on pay-per-views. And she's just, again, banger after banger after banger. All right, Paladin. I don't think Britt Baker's bad. I think Thunder Rosa's a superior wrestler for sure. I love Thunder Rosa. I think she's great. I loved her when she was in the NWA. I loved her when she was competing on the indies. I watched her at Lucha Underground. I've always liked Thunder Rosa since I first saw her. She was in a tag team, former NWA International Women's Champions. And that title started off as a men's title, and they defended it in, what was it? A couple of promotions in Japan. It's okay, Paladin. We all have those days. By the time came in 2022, Kamille was the GOAT for NWA pay-per-view. She carried it. All right, other things to talk about. We have, of course, Kamille just was recently announced to sign with AEW. We did speak a little bit about Krossfire. Again, dope logo. Love the logo. Excited for what Kenzie and Kylie have in store. As we mentioned on Thursday, currently their world champion is Juventud Guerrera. Yes, that same Juventud Guerrera from WCW, former WCW Cruiserweight champion. I'm not sure how that's going to move forward, but I would love to see Juventud Guerrera on NWA TV in 2024. I hope he's a part of those TV tapings that are happening on June 1st. I will be happy about that. Of course, we know that Exodus Pro is going to have their next show on May the 11th, announced as a 6-man tag team match featuring EC3, Ashton Day, and Richard Holiday taking on the team of the Slimeballs and Carson Drake. Sure, looks good on paper. Who wouldn't pay to see Richard Holiday and EC3 in a matchup? Rarefied air, right? That's the matchup that I'd actually prefer to see, and it was the one that I wish was happening. Take me to Slimeball City. Yeah. Pretty empowered is Kenzie, Ella, and Kylie, right? And so to an extent, yeah, I guess you could say that they own Krossfire because Kylie and Kenzie, it was a promotion that was established by their father, Kylie and Kenzie's father. And so to say that Pretty Power owns it, I guess. I mean, you're not wrong, right? But it is Kylie and Kenzie. They have been very much a part of that promotion back when their father was running it till now. They do use talents from the Dr. Tom and Glenn Jacobs Wrestling Academy. I think it's called Pritchard Jacobs Wrestling Academy or something like that. And, that's a lot of these talents that we see in Joe Cazana Promotions also came from there as well. And, they most recently featured Joey Janela taking on Juventud Guerrera. So, I mean, look, it's right there. I mean, that's a pretty cool looking venue. Obviously, they look excited to be a part of the NWA in terms of the territory system. Obviously, they both benefit from being in the NWA, considering their success and everything else. I'm excited to see what the heck is happening next. Noob, you don't know who Juventud Guerrera is? Oh, yeah. Ay, los míos, no me gusta. Juventud Guerrera, in the same vein as Psychosis and Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera was like the youngest of the three when they debuted in the WCW. And that's saying a lot because Rey was still very young too. Juventud would go on to win the Cruiserweight Championship, have a wild time in Australia. If you know, you know. Worked a lot of the indies, ended up in the WWE for a short time. Again, crazy stories. Wrestled for XPW. Spent a lot of time out here in SoCal. I don't know how he ended up with the Page sisters in Krossfire, but hey, more power to you. Oh, it's the Page sisters. Yeah. Set up the match for the 10 pounds of gold. All right, cool. Oh, got you, noob. Sorry, misunderstood. Wow, Page sisters have an arena. Jay, is it that hard to get an arena in California? You're talking to the wrong guy. I don't know how much it costs to get a building. Like where I live, I'm very close to a casino. In fact, I'm very close to a couple of casinos. And in fact, this Saturday, I'm going to be at a Lucha Libre event in Cathedral City, which is just outside of Palm Springs. And they do a show outdoors. And this will be the last one that they do because it's an all ages show and it's being promoted by a casino. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they do it right outside and it looks amazing because they always pack that place. And you'll see videos that I've posted here on this page or on the Veamos Lucha Libre page that I run. And, I don't know. They get paid to do those events, right? Down the street from me, 15 minutes away, is like the Soboba Casino, and they do. They've done a lot of live events. I've seen comedy there. I've seen cage fighting there, and I would love to see pro wrestling there, but I have no idea what it would take for that to happen. And if it was that easy, your boy Jay would be putting wrestling shows on. ECW was the first to bring those lucha wrestlers all in. Well, technically, Mr. Media Mike, it was the World Peace Festival that Inoki co-promoted with, I take it back. What happened first, when Worlds Collide, the World Peace Festival or ECW? All right, now you're going to make me look. When Worlds Collide pay-per-view. If I can spell it right. Okay, so the AAA pay-per-view happened on June 11th, 1994, when Worlds Collide. And when did Rey Mysterio debut for ECW? 95. So when Worlds Collide actually beat you to ECW. How do you say that's not a national scale when it was on pay-per-view? It featured WCW talent versus AAA talent. Come on, man. Not just Mysterio. Yeah, I know. Willie wants to point out that who spent some time in NWA TNA. The juice is loose. Like I said a week ago on the Alliance Guys podcast, NWA and WPC may have seen may have C and treat Markova as a star, but not booked like one. And I was right, and her star power is diminished like crazy. TV coverage. Mike, I don't know, man. Like, I knew all about When Worlds Collide. I ordered it. I watched it. I didn't know about ECW till like 95 or 96. Okay, we're running out of time. What else do we have to talk about? We have to talk about some NWA TV that's happening tonight. Of course, this is part of the Hard Times event that was in this wasn't in Dothan, was it? I don't remember where it was. Sorry, I can't remember right now. The matches that are have been pegged for tonight is a last call match featuring AJ Cazana taking on Anthony Andrews, also known as Country Gentleman 1.0 Explode. AJ Cazana, Anthony Andrews. Of course, there's a lot of animosity there. Cazana has had a lot of heat with Andrews ever since what happened at the 75th anniversary show. They lose the tag titles. Andrews disappears, forces AJ to find a new tag team partner in his own brother, KC. They have some success. Andrews comes back, joins the Idolmania Sports Management, almost like a hired assassin to mess with the Cazana brothers, keep them distracted. I know that they had aspirations to become U.S. Tag Team Champions, and we've seen the focus more on Anthony Andrews. If they can finally exercise the demon that has been Anthony Andrews and finally put an end to this charade with him, that the Cazana brothers can move on and try to fulfill their aspirations to becoming tag team champions once again. Also on tonight's card, a lot of tag team wrestling tonight, because we're also going to see the Slime Balls taking on the Kids. This is like another, it kind of feels like a territory type matchup, because the Slime Balls obviously representing Exodus Pro. The Kids, although not directly connected to Joe Cazana or any of the other promotions, the Kids were discovered when they did the team up with the CCW event in the earlier in the year. That's when they kind of became a part of what's happening in the NWA. So again, we talked about what the territories are doing for the NWA. Well, we're seeing fresh faces because of it now. I'm sure this might have implications for the U.S. tag titles. We'll see. Maybe this might even lead to having, we don't have a card yet for Crockett Cup. We haven't even heard any names announced yet for the Crockett Cup. So perhaps maybe that this matchup might be an indicator of who will be a part of the Crockett Cup going forward. And of course, the big steel cage match, the Southern Six, Murnochs. This is the big matchup. No gold on the line, no titles on the line, just a lot of respect on the line. A lot of can I earn your respect, Booker Man? And I feel like this is going to be a big deal again for the NWA in terms of what are they going to do with Southern Six? How are we going to see the Southern Six continue moving forward? Now, we know that just a few weeks ago, Silas Mason surrendered the national championship. We know that Kerry Morton lost the junior heavyweight title earlier this year, or last year, actually, at the 75th anniversary show. He lost the title. So the Southern Six has kind of been scurrying. We haven't seen a lot of forward momentum with them. A victory against Murnochs could really set them up for an opportunity at the Crockett Cup. And who knows, if Silas Mason gets involved, if Ricky Morton gets involved, they could shock the world tonight. Now, obviously, the show airs on CW at 7 a.m. your local time. So you might have already watched Power. I have not. I'm going to be watching it immediately following this live stream. It will be on our Discord server. You could watch it with us. We'll be playing it on the stream. Let's see. I saw Carrie. Wait, hold on. Got to get to the more comments. Hoovie's best days was the Monday Night Wars, WCW, the LWO. Kids look like the Hardys on meth and pine. Oh my God. I saw Carrie on the NWA stream yesterday. Dude got herpes on his lip. No. Oh my God. The man just graduated college, Paladin, with 2 degrees. And you're going to talk about herpes on the lip? My goodness. Motor City Machine Guns for the Crockett Cup. Come on, Billy. I think they've already signed elsewhere. I think the potential is already gone. They even talked about it on the bump. They even talked about the bump. Paladin, I don't know what you're saying, man. Hey guys, it is that time. I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you who make Tuesday part of your viewing habits and join the pre-party each and every Tuesday. I do also want to point out that we've got new merch that for whatever reason the photo didn't come up. Hold on a second. We have a new t-shirt available on our shop. I'm very happy with the way this one turned out. It pays homage to the original not used NWO logo, but that's the Alliance Wrestling 2024, the global logo, if you will. It's available for $15 if you go to our merch store, which link is in the bio. Anytime you guys buy a shirt, it just helps me finance the podcast and doing all this a little bit more. If you enjoy this show, throw a couple bucks down and buy a shirt. If you can't afford to buy the shirt, hey, just share it. That's cool. I'll take that as well. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. I do appreciate you being here. Thursday is a very special episode of the Alliance Guys podcast. We'll be joined by Royce Isaacs, formerly NWA World Tag Team Champion Royce. We'll be talking about New Japan Strong, the SoCal Indies, working in Colorado, basically becoming the champion, the wrestler that he wants to be, just above the New Japan Strong show that's happening on May the 11th here in California and Ontario. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Again, do appreciate you guys being here each and every week. And, well, that's going to do it for us, for me. Until next time, we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog